you know, they like to run their mouths and they like to, you know, they like to say, oh, you need to release the names now. I'm like, piss off. You know, you going to protect them? You gonna Billy Badass it up and take your shotgun and go sleep on the guy's sofa or the girl's sofa and protect them? I mean, if you're not willing to do that, then you need to shut your pie holes. Sorry, that's just me being real with you. You know, you can't guarantee their safety any more than my team can, other than to keep them safe, private, secure, and do everything you can to not dox them. But it just blows my mind, the audacity of armchair quarterbacks. You know, just release the information. We deserve to know. You deserve nothing.
Relax.
No one. I deserve nothing. My life has been threatened many times, but these people are putting it all on the line. So how dare me or how dare any of you to ask them to risk their lives or put their families in danger or say more than they need to? It's shameful that people think that they are so important that they can demand that of others. And I see that a lot, and we see that a lot in our investigations, and I just wanted to address it. Yes, the source will not be anywhere near. It will be a remote call-in. And so, yeah, and when my guys are messaging me, apparently Alex Jones just started a stream talking about the Seth Rich witness. Let me say something real quick.
I think sound is coming through with the fucking videos lagging.
Why don't you call the head of the horse? Why don't you actually call me, and I'll come on InfoWars and explain to you? It's amazing that these people are literally piggybacking off of our stream about the Seth Rich witness. It's absolutely preposterous to me. You know, why aren't you calling me? Why aren't you calling Frank Whalen or Hannibal Moot? I mean, you're gonna run with this story. It's our witness. They came forward to us.
So anyone in the chat, let us know if the video's
they're a great
lagging.
patriot for what they're doing. Frank Whalen works with our team, and he is there on the ground representing me. It's just absolutely ridiculously stupid. And so I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not jaded. I'm not jealous. I just, you know, it's like I've always told you guys. If I need my yard taken care of, I don't call a mechanic. If you want to know about Seth Rich, why don't you call the expert on the Seth Rich investigation? Why are you trying to speculate on things that you know nothing about?
He's
And then exactly like Doctor said, and then they add bad info and bad and disinformation to the process.
They're piggybacking on the thing.
Always checking. Somebody coming by here a little bit.
Oh, he has.
I mean, I guess it's a way to get the word out, but here's the thing. If you're not getting the truth out, if you're not talking, and there's no way they know. You are looking at one of like 5 people, well, maybe 7 or 8, that actually know. And I assure you, Alex Jones is not one of them. If that makes sense. So why would you be doing live streams covering this when you don't know? I just don't get it. Maybe it's just me. And I'm not, like I said, not jaded, not jealous, just confused by it all. And it's amazing to me that all of these people never talk about Seth Rich. You know, all of these people want to talk about Seth Rich, but they never have a word to say about the Seth Rich murder until our team breaks something. Whether it's the hush money that Eddie Graham found out, or, you know, whether it's the reports that Hannibal Moot's been putting out, the last 5 reports in the Justice series for Seth Rich, or that we're at a press conference in D.C. and one of our key sources and witnesses is calling in to talk live. Now all of a sudden all these guys want to talk about Seth Rich. If all of you armchair journalists would have stayed on this Seth Rich case with my team, we may have already had this damn thing solved. But your lack of testicular fortitude and your lack of doing anything angers me. It's ridiculous. You've literally, you literally just hide in a corner.
Do we shit on them without cursing?
No, I'm saying, I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying that they don't know what they're talking about. I've never had one conversation with Alex Jones, so explain to me why Alex Jones is going to go live for 30 minutes talking about a press conference that I'm holding.
You might be a little bit mad about viewership.
You know?
Luckily, we had no viewership, so...
I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, and when I'm offering my services, if you really wanted to know, if you really wanted to be
so far
involved in the Seth Rich investigation, you would reach out to our team. That's what I'm trying to say.
As far as this anonymous
and I don't
witness,
think I'm wrong there.
He's not going to say Bob did it in the DEA. That's
well,
right.
and as far as the press conference goes, it's going to be fairly private. Folks. It's not going to be. It's not going to be a big to do like that.
God. Shit sucks.
Exactly, Bass. That's exactly how it works. But and once again, guys, I've told you guys this from day one. I'm not going to pull punches. I'm not going to float egos. I'm not going to say things that make everyone feel good. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know.
That's what makes our team unique and makes us different. Whether you like what we have to say or not, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to be honest. And so, that's my take.
Could be the camera. Maybe if I use the other camera instead.
Yeah, and I'm going to log off here in just a couple of minutes because I've got to do some things and
it's like his press conference
and get some stuff up for the press conference.
Yeah, it's like he's in his room right now, hanging out.
And
6 minutes to WrestleMania.
Not. I mean, I hope you do. Appreciate that. You too, Jesse. I mean, that's my take. Alex follows me on Twitter. Why is Jack doing it and not me? Because I was in the hospital for the last 2 weeks and damn near died.
Yeah, I read that. He got really
I've
sick.
only been out of the hospital like 3 days.
Matt Couch.
Who died?
No, he's sick. Fuck.
So if you didn't know I was in the hospital the last 2 weeks, you've been kind of under a rock, I guess.
Died, so.
He said almost died.
But he said something.
Press conference is at a hotel in Arlington, Virginia.
He's having a 23.
I'm actually good. I've lost 70 pounds in the last probably 10 days. I'm on a really good sodium diet to clear the extra fluids out. And
homicide detective in New York.
No, I'm okay. I went in, folks. I had and Laura, like I said, she's been one of the best friends I could have. Laura Loomer and Jack Murphy and all my teammates and Joe Biggs and Liz Crokin. I'm just blessed to have some amazing patriots in my corner that are willing to help.
Up,
I went in with pneumonia. They gave me a breathing treatment, and it put my heart into AFib. For those that I don't know if I told you guys that or not.
We don't know exactly where they're going to live broadcast this at yet. So,
as far as the live presser goes, I think there's like a gateway something from San Francisco that's going to be live streaming it.
A gateway something from San Francisco. Of course, it lags right there.
Just didn't say anything.
Sorry, just tired of the trolls, folks.
He's like, I'll say it, but then I'll.
They do seem to be keeping this really hush. Like,
so that makes it, yes, Golden State Times, I think, is the one that's going to be live streaming it. So, guys, thank you all for tuning in. If you want to help in our investigations, Frank Whalen is on the ground in Washington, D.C., joining Jack Burkman at a joint press conference. One of our witnesses will be speaking at this joint press conference. Once again, I wanted to come on and be honest with you and let you guys know that our witness is not going to be naming names or anything that jeopardizes himself, his family, other families, or our team. The Gateway Pundit article was written very wrong. We did not know they were going to put certain information out. And so I just wanted to let you guys know, don't want anybody to get their hopes up. He's going to talk a lot about things that happened the night Seth was murdered, but I'm not going to do anything. He's not going to be naming any names or doing anything that jeopardizes him. And so, and I hope you guys understand that. If you want to help in our investigations, it's patreon.com/AmericaFirst, fundly.com/AmericaFirstMedia, and then last but not least, it's GoFundMe.com/America-First-Media-
tried Googling this thing and I just typed in Seth. Nothing like this came up. I put Seth Rich. And it said Seth Rich witness. Even then, it wasn't like live coverage.
See, I heard these guys were gonna, I don't know, broadcast it.
We'll see, because I'm not in the mood for someone downplaying it to such a degree anymore.
Yeah.
It really bothers me. Hello. Oh, hi. Hello. Yeah.
You're 5
Yes.
years old. You're like 5.
You know what? Whatever, dude. I'll be 5 years old and happy. You know.
Yeah.
You can be. Just get off my lawn.
Yep.
It's okay, man. Replace that hip of yours.
Yeah. Time to scour the internet. Let's see. There's Bill Still. He's a possible candidate.
I want to go to the park.
I'm just gonna close this. That's right, turn off. Fuck.
It's so nervous to get shoes that light up.
Huh?
I want light up shoes. Look at that. And we have no coverage yet. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, I just turned it on.
Or we got one.
Huh?
I said, oh, we have one.
Let's try OAN. Let's refresh that shit. So our YouTube has nothing up yet.
The Talbot cannot wait us out. Imperial.
So what do you know about the Seth Rich case?
I don't
Or
know.
heard about it? Do you have any input?
Well, considering I'm this many years old, my parents said I'm not allowed to look at stuff like that.
Yep, milk it. Milk it. So you have an excuse not to say anything.
Get off my lawn, James. Well, originally I heard that, in the beginning, or anything recently, or just in general, that Seth Rich was killed allegedly because he had something regarding like files or documents or just information about the DNC that could be crucial, like maybe incriminating someone, and bang bang.
Well, they're saying he leaked
That's it.
the information.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know if it was for money. I don't know if it was for moral reasons, but.
Well, I've heard several theories. One was money.
Mm.
But I think the main one was that he's like a Bernie Sanders supporter. Clinton screwed over Sanders in the primaries. And then he's like, I need to get back at him.
Hey, worth a shot. You hear a lot when you're in the playground, especially under the slide. That's why I heard about this.
Oh shit. Jason Goodman. That makes sense. Yeah.
Now fighting at Blue Corner, Jason Goodman.
If we had more subscribers.
That's another one of the really bizarre circumstances in this case, that there was a car parked and broken into and an FBI weapon stolen. But, you know, we've never had much of an explanation of what really happened or why it was stolen or what were the details in it.
Right.
So that's part of the investigation as well. I mean, and then, you know, the key issue here and why this is so important is that what's at stake here is the idea of whether or not Seth Rich was the one who, as an employee of the Democratic National Committee, an IT specialist, put a thumb drive into the DNC server and stole the emails that ultimately got to WikiLeaks, or whether it was Russians who hacked into the system.
Right.
And this whole Russian collusion argument keyed initially on the argument, the CrowdStrike, which was a very heavily connected to the Democrats, funded by Eric Schmidt at Google and others on the left side of the spectrum, came in and said it was Russia that had hacked the DNC, and that's where this whole FBI, DOJ investigation got started of, you know, Donald Trump colluding with Russia. Right. The argument was that Donald Trump made some kind of a quid pro quo deal where he was going to say reduce sanctions if only the Russians would break into the DNC and steal these emails and give them to WikiLeaks. Now, that's always seemed to me to be pretty preposterous. But, you know, if it turns out that Seth Rich was the culprit, and we have clear evidence of that,
PayPal,
and it was not a Russian hack,
Patreon,
then I think we've got a whole new narrative here, which is going to,
if we ever get enough followers,
raise
we'll hide
additional
our,
questions as to
our
why
shady
Mueller's
business
investigation
dealings.
started in the first place.
I'll fucking hide my face. You'll never see.
And Julian Assange has maintained repeatedly that it was.
Oh, doctor, they're about to
in the
begin.
info box.
All right, well,
all the way
let's
at the
listen and
bottom.
hear what they have to say.
Let's hear this.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. It's on a hot summer day. Thanks to everyone for coming. In the long 2-year investigation of the murder of Seth Rich, I think we finally have some news. To quote our friend Winston Churchill, it's not the end. It may not even be the beginning of the end, but I think for sure it's the end of the beginning. With me here today is Frank Whalen, who's a former NYPD homicide detective with whom we've been working for some time. Frank will speak to you in just a moment. I really mean it when I say thanks for being here, because the press have been our partners on this matter from the day we launched the investigation way back in November of 2016, just a few months after Seth was killed. Without you guys, we have very little means of getting witnesses to come forth. It's only press coverage that brings people out of the woodwork, and ultimately it was probably press coverage that brought this witness today. This witness will call in and join us via speakerphone after Frank speaks. I will give you a brief synopsis of what we will present today.
And this is Jack Burkman,
we now
right?
believe that Seth Rich was killed by an agent, a current agent of the DEA and an agent of the ATF. Now, this is consistent with what was on the video, that there were 2 assailants. And indeed, everybody investigating this case, including the DC police, from the outset, had believed there were 2 assailants that evening, that morning. Another thing that, well, there are many reasons, and Frank will tell you why we believe this witness is very, very credible. One of the reasons we believe, and I'll share this with you, as many of you know, in March of this year, 4 months ago, I was shot by a man named Kevin Doherty, who was currently in the Arlington County Detention and charged with 3 felony counts for that crime. This witness had never heard of Kevin Doherty. When we mentioned the name, when Frank and others mentioned the name Kevin Doherty to him, he said, wait a minute, I know Kevin Doherty. Kevin Doherty was associated with the 2 people that he's talking about here who shot Seth. And Frank will tell you more about that, but he hadn't heard that I had been shot, and yet he knew the name Kevin Doherty. That was an enormous credibility builder for us. We'll also talk about, now, one of the things you have to understand about these 2 people we're talking about here today, this is the unit level of what has happened. What I would stress to you is this evidence is consistent with any number of theories out there about who at a higher level may have ordered this. And we'll talk as the hour goes on here a little more about that. We're less clear about who at a higher level was involved in this. But the picture is becoming clearer and clearer at the unit level about what happened to Seth. So it's been a long 2 years. Again, thanks to all of you for all you've done. Thanks for staying on the story. Thanks for being here today. And without further ado, I'll give you my friend Frank Whalen.
All right, so this guy's the
my name is Frank Whalen. I'm a 22-year veteran of the NYPD, retired detective sergeant. My last 2 years on the job, I was in the Brooklyn South Homicide Squad. I connected with Matt. I got interested in this case over a year ago, and I got connected with Matt Couch in America First Media about a little over a year ago. And I also am a licensed private investigator in New York. There's about 10 members of our group, volunteers for America First Media. Everybody has their own specialty. Some are better computer guys, some are writers, some are investigators like myself and Bill Pierce. But if it wasn't for Matt Couch, I wouldn't be here. His level of commitment and all the things that he's been able to get.
Let me know if the volume's good.
Sources have come to him, including this one today. We have a number of sources that give us information. We vet it as much as we can, and when we think it's credible, we put it out there. You can all go to America First Media's site. It's af-mg.com, and all the information that we've recovered from sources and vetted is all in that website. Today we're here, like I said, we have a number of sources that are giving us information, including the information about Kevin Doherty and his affiliation with the people we were looking at regarding this incident. So when we had our source come forward and be able to put these people together, obviously our light bulb went off, and we vetted this individual as we do all our sources, and we try and get this information right. We don't just throw it out there. We've had this information for a number of months. We've approached people in the Rayburn building regarding this, and as of yet, no one's acted on it. Obviously, the protection of our sources and methods are important. So we're doing this on a no budget. We're all volunteers. We don't get paid. We just believe in the case, and that it should be solved. In this particular case, we have one of our sources that's going to get on the phone today and give you the story related to information that he gave to us. We've been able to, vet his story where we believe it's credible information and should be acted upon by someone. We don't have the means to do anything else other than investigate the information that he has given us. So he'll be calling in a few minutes, and he'll give you the scenario of what he knows, his part of it. Like I said, we have a number of sources here. He's just one piece of it. And I know there's a lot of people that other people have investigated this, but the people come forward to Matt because of his sincerity and belief and commitment to trying to get to the end of this case. So I don't know.
Frank, you know what you might do? If you before the witness calls in, why don't you take him through the basics? Take him through the basics, maybe a brief outline of what the witness would say.
All right. Basically, the witness said that he overheard conversations with these gentlemen bragging about the Seth Rich murder. and that's what put him on it. He didn't really know anything about it. He looked into it on his own. And when he saw Matt Couch and the other group of us, looking into this thing, he was afraid that we were going to go down a path that we may get injured. So that's what made this particular witness come forward. Other people that have given us information are just trying to help out. This gentleman thought enough of Matt and his group and our group that he was worried that we were getting, our information was spot on, and that we may run into a problem at that point. So that's why he came forward. Basically, his information is that that they were doing something with emails, related to Hillary Clinton. They were altering the emails. These are people that are in government that have access to these things, and they were altering emails. And when Seth Rich downloaded these emails, they were afraid if investigations take place that they would be discovered. Now, the individuals that we know were involved in this were law enforcement, and that they were working with Rob Rosenstein in Baltimore, and they are trusted members of this group. So when this thing happened, they were afraid that if an investigation took place, that they'd be discovered that they were altering these emails. So it had nothing to do with WikiLeaks putting them out. It just generated a lot of attention, in which they were afraid to be discovered. He'll go into more detail when he calls about this.
We have broader investigations underway now as to what may have been Rosenstein's involvement in this, and what is his exact relationship with these two people. Broader investigations are underway as we speak. But why don't we do this? Why don't you let's take a 5-minute break for coffee and restroom, whatever you need, and then we will coordinate with our witness, and we will rejoin.
Okay, well, Jason, the new information, I mean, first of all, the Gateway Pundit yesterday reported much of this.
It's like... I was like, you're cool, man. That's interesting.
Yeah, what they're saying is they have...
I do not believe it's... Oh, I thought you said is it live on TV?
Nah.
Like, fuck, that would never be live on TV.
Is it live on YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah?
That's where we're watching it from.
Or I thought you got like a link from somewhere.
Yeah. So what they're saying is that there's... This witness, I guess, is key, but also there's other sources.
I was like, huh? Because they said this gentleman. I'm like, great. Now we know he's a dude.
I think we already knew that.
Oh, all right. It's like, I heard he's male, and he's 5'10", and a little overweight.
Catch him at the coffee bar, right down the street over here.
He gets into fights a lot. He has a golden retriever, and swears a lot.
Here's the other important thing, was that it's not about WikiLeaks.
Yeah, we
explicitly said that it's not about... WikiLeaks just made it giant. Yeah. But it wasn't really about them. It was about, I guess, the Clinton team altering emails.
Yeah.
So they don't look,
horrible. Like horrible.
Well, they don't look criminal.
Oh. I thought it's like no matter what, this might get out.
They already looked horrible in the emails.
Yeah.
Like really bad.
Yeah.
But nothing happened with it. So I don't think they were worried about saving face as much as they were, let's not go to jail. So those are the two key things I got from that. Multiple witnesses, and they're still doing interviews. Multiple witnesses and the altering of emails, not the WikiLeaks.
Fucking roaches, man.
Now what Seth Rich was going to do with that evidence, who knows? Is he going to go right to the police or whatever? Or
I don't think that would have.
Well, you got to think from his mindset. he'd be thinking that there's no grand conspiracy thing going on. It's just I can just go to the police and they'll help me because that's what police people do.
Well, this goes back to what's her name, the Madam of DC. Now she had information and she went to the mainstream news and it didn't go nowhere.
Oh, she didn't release the information. She didn't exactly release the information. She didn't name names. She didn't do that.
Actually, she gave them information and they didn't do shit with it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I meant like publicly. You said she went to the mainstream news. I don't think she said any names or anything like that.
No, but she gave them information.
She's like, I got this. Like, you're gonna get killed for doing that. You gotta straight up say, see, even that's difficult. You'd have to do it on an Alex Jones type show.
Well, she did.
Where they accept hearing names and be like, I accept what you're saying now.
Well, she did, but in regards of like just trusting them, it's like you're gonna fall on deaf ears, man. They're not gonna care.
Possibly.
I'm not joking. I'm like, hey, hair dye, change the face a little bit, you know.
I think they're just doing an interview.
Whether to bring him in masks or bagged or to have him call, and we went back and forth, and this is what he's most comfortable with. In the coming weeks, you'll learn a lot more about the witness. We have extensive audio files of the witness. We have hours and hours of audio files with this guy. And I think you'll find it very credible. And in the coming weeks, we're going to release a lot more about him.
Why not?
He's concerned for his safety.
But like, is that going to change in 3 weeks from now?
One of the problems is this guy lives in the same area as these two alleged assailants, and it's just it's a tough situation. So we have to manage it. We have to watch out for him and his family. And we're doing it.
Jack, do Seth's parents know about this development?
Not for me. Not for me. Sadly, I love the family, but we're not. You may know we haven't been on speaking terms in a while. I love them. I think they're great. I mean, all of this is being done in honor of Seth, and I think Joel and Mary Rich are great people. But you know, this is tough. This is tough. I understand. This is tough. You know, you go from a situation where you're in Omaha, and all of a sudden, extras beating on your door. You know, it's hard.
Why are you no longer on speaking terms with them, Jack?
Oh, kind of we sued the mayor and the D.C. police about 1.5 years ago, and they didn't really approve of that. I wanted to get the ballistics report. I wanted to get the coroner's report. I wanted to get the other Flagler video, but they didn't want me to do that. It's just, you know, they really wanted my role limited to really offering a reward and then working with the D.C. police. The problem is, frankly, we weren't satisfied with what the D.C. police were doing. I didn't think they were doing much of anything. I thought it had gone into the cold. We did work with them for about a month, but then it was clear to me this thing gone into the cold case file. And I made a commitment. I just can't walk away. And I had to do what I had to do.
Did you get any of that information from the D.C. police?
Well, we worked with them. I remember it's a while back. I think we did a press conference with Joel and Mary Rich in November of 16. And as memory serves, like in December of 16, January of 17, we were working with the D.C. police. But it's been a long time. Needless to say, it's been a long time.
But to be clear, have you seen the autopsy report or any ballistics evidence?
No, nobody has. That's why we sued them. I begged them to turn them over. I couldn't figure out why. I mean, what I told the mayor was, look, she said, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're working with other conspiracy theorists. Okay, I said, look, set this aside. I said, if you do nothing more than release the ballistics report in this case, you can prove or disprove any of the 14 conspiracy theories that are out there. I said, why wouldn't... Now, the argument on the other side is that, well, if you release it and you have a defendant down the road, they might have trouble discovering that, so you're taking away a natural advantage of the prosecution. That's the standard argument, but it's a very weak argument in this case when you have an entire city that's trying to help solve a murder. There's no reason not to release the coroner's report, medical examiner's report, and the ballistics. I just can't think of any, because frankly, convictions in this case, I'll tell you, are going to be very difficult. We're already at the 2-year point. Even if arrests were made a few months from now, you'd be at the 3-year point before anybody was taking evidence. I can tell you, getting a conviction is going to be real tough. That's not what this is about. This is about justice. It's about finding out for the family and for the city of Washington and this area who did it.
Rod Wheeler has said that an autopsy was never done. The report doesn't exist.
That I can't speak to, because all I did was try to get it through litigation. I failed, but I don't know. He may be right. I have no idea.
Do you have any information as to why Kathy Lanier left her position as chief of police only weeks after this alleged murder?
No idea. It's one of the very suspicious and bizarre coincidences that surround this. I mean, I can tell you all, as members of the press, I don't know where, you guys probably have as many different opinions on this personally as there are out there, but I can tell you, you now have over $400,000 in reward money from a variety of people, including me, that's out on the street. If this thing were in the street, as the parents believe and the DC police believe, I guarantee you there would be somebody come forth in 2 years. It's almost a virtual impossibility that you would not have somebody come forth if this were a street shooting with that kind of money. In the streets of DC, that's real money. This is not the Upper East Side of New York.
Will this witness be entitled to receive any reward money back?
Yes, it depends. It just depends where it leads. We're corroborating the witness, possibly. We're vetting him, we're corroborating. We think he's credible. The answer is yes, definitely. If this could lead somewhere, you bet. At least for me. The others, you got to talk to the others. I don't know what conditions are on other rewards. There's 4 or 5 people involved.
Where would this need to lead to get reward money?
Well, it's a good question. We never really defined, we just never really defined all of that. I would like to see an arrest made. I think at a minimum to see an arrest made. I want to see an arrest. If I can see an arrest, I think I would probably pay the reward. But I like what I'm seeing from this witness. Like I say, I believe he's credible. He's helped us enormously. And I think I've been a lawyer a long time. And
He's trying to hold okay. It keeps getting bounced back.
Let's see.
Okay, the witnesses can
Let's see, did he try 2274?
Yeah.
Okay, give me one moment. Tell him to hold on, I'll be back.
He's on the phone before it does.
Hang on,
Doctor, I'm going to try to reposition my microphone to see if I can't get a better audio track for us.
It's like deep voice.
All right, that's fine.
I'll be back in just a moment.
So I believe the witness is going to jump on the phone soon. You're very cute, Kevin. Very adorable. Hey, come to me, man.
My microphone is over there by the phone. When the witness gets on the line,
sounds like you know better.
Good clear audio. Can you hear me, Doctor?
Not as well as I could before.
Yeah, my microphone is across the room. So if you want to give some commentary, I'll let you know when the witness comes on.
Well, I'm just letting you get positioned. It's again, it's still pretty murky at this point as to what the evidence is and why it's credible. They seem to think that this Doherty ties into established credibility, and I'm waiting to see why they think that. I mean, Frank Whalen made it clear that he believes that they vetted this witness, they believe in the witness. He has evidence that substantiates his claims. It's going to be slowly released. We're going to need to see the evidence of what the witness has that corroborates all the claims made. The police have said that the video identifies the pant legs of 2 men, and that's all anybody knows. There were 2 men involved in the killing that night.
Yeah.
And again, this Doherty, the entire situation is Burkman was rejected by the family. The family got a PR specialist helping them that immediately shut down the family's investigation. The DNC has not wanted this case investigated. and it's been a complete cover-up. Now, I agree with Wayland that if it had been just a street shooting, probably someone would have come forward to claim the award because someone in the street, a gang member or whatever, would have talked.
Yeah.
But again, that's not 100% provable. I mean, no one saw the shooting, and there was no one was apprehended at the site. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how this all plays out. Doherty was hired to
not releasing ballistics or anything like that.
Help get to the bottom of the case. He claims to have been a special agent, a criminal investigator in the intelligence community. It's kind of a shadowy figure himself. And he's supposed to be acquainted with the two government employees that killed Rich, according to Burkman. But again, how all this ties together to establish credibility, that the witness supposedly didn't know it was Doherty who shot Burkman, and somehow that helps establish his credibility.
Yeah, it's an explosive allegation, if true. Okay, so Jack Burkman is entering the room again now. We're going to see if the witness is ready to come on the phone.
Okay, you've got a much better position now in the room.
I've heard stuff about both these guys. Sort of crazy.
I can't stay close to it, unfortunately.
You can't stay up closer to the front of the room, Jason.
Soy boy in the building. Hipsters for life.
Yeah, why don't you sit right there? That's good. That's much better.
So many wires connecting me here. It's difficult to move around.
Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're solving our technical problem.
I'm sympathetic to technical problems because they happen frequently.
Okay,
So, for those who are just tuning in, we're here at the press conference for Seth Rich. Press conference being held by Jack Burkman. He's presenting a new witness today who has made an explosive claim that a DEA agent and an ATF agent were the two to murder Seth Rich. I apologize for the audio quality right now. My microphone is next to the phone as we await a call from a new witness.
Put your speaker on it. I'll be calling you. They call you on a restricted number. Is the speaker on?
I don't know how loud that's going to be, Jack.
You turn it up, turn the volume up.
Yeah, it's all the way up.
Where's the speaker on?
Yeah, volume's all the way up.
Is this our witness?
Hold on, you have to put it on speaker.
Yeah, put it on
speaker.
Hold on a moment. Is this Luke?
Yes.
We're calling you Luke for lack of a better name right now. Can I call you Luke?
Oh, he might have fucked up.
Please do.
Okay, we have you on a cell phone speaker. We had some technical difficulties with the switchboard here at the Holiday Inn, but we react and adapt, the slogan of the Marine Corps, even though I'm not a Marine. Luke, thank you for taking time. I've explained to the press, we've got a pretty full room of press here. Frank has spoken, and you're now live on air here with our press corps. I wanted to, if you could take us through and take your time, if you could kind of tell us the basic story of Seth and these two agents and how it came to be with you, I'd be grateful.
Over my background, very briefly, very in general, obviously.
Take your time.
It's military. Second half of that career was attached to the intelligence community. I maintained that connection into the civilian world. Ended up as a consultant, mostly in domestic and foreign terrorists. That's how I came to be in contact with the Department of Justice in Baltimore for many years. The people involved in this death I know well, both professionally and personally.
Okay, bear with us one second. I'm going to let the press. We're just going to reposition here better for sound quality. Bear with us, Luke. Bear with us. Sorry. I'm going to move this. We're dealing with technical issues here. If you can all maybe crowd around here, that would be great. We'll have a huddle. We'll have a team huddle here. We're doing this the old-fashioned way. We got you on a speaker on a cell phone. All right, I think everybody's close enough. Okay, Luke, go right ahead.
First, let me say thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Burkman, Mr. Whalen. Also, there's been quite a few people online recently concerned over our safety and offered their prayers. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
That's our pleasure.
People involved with it. I do not know Seth Rich. I've never met him, never dealt with him. I hadn't known the name until late 2016 when these people were bragging about what they had done, how they got away with everything. And this is an accumulation of multiple conversations held with other people in front of me or in front of me, and people, other people I know. There were 3 people that night. Now, they had been surveilling him because of his computer breach. They knew it. They knew what he had done. It was too close for comfort. They believed that they were under investigation. They had monitored quite a few things. They were in the emails and the computer systems. And when this happened, it set off all their bells and whistles. They wanted to know immediately who he was, what he was doing. This was a large, he went in, Seth Rich went in and grabbed a bunch of emails.
And tell us briefly, not to interrupt you, Luke, if you could, tell us just briefly, and of course no names, but tell us about the backgrounds of these. One is DEA, one is ATF, am I correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about these guys to the extent you can, and if you can't, I understand, and then tell us how you initially came upon this information.
Well, they were writing about it. So that's when I first heard the name. Didn't know anything about that side. What they were doing, they were bragging about it. They bragged about private just before the name came up. And talked through it. I did some research, found out what they were talking about through my channels. And they had details that triggered most of this. They had details about what happened the night leading up to it, the actual act, what occurred right afterwards, and why. It wasn't hard for me to figure out why, involved with the computers, the emails, and their manipulation of those. Like I said, when he did this, there was a breach, something. Whether or not he gave anything WikiLeaks, I have no idea. If that was his intent or if it actually happened. But going into the system that they had control of set off everything. And when he grabbed that many, they assumed it was an investigation. For approximately a week to 2 weeks prior to the act itself, the murder, he was being surveilled to one degree or another. That's how they knew he had this thumb drive that they wanted.
Let me ask you, Luke, not to interrupt you again, why would he have had that thumb drive on him late at night? He was killed in the early morning hours of July 10th. Any sense of why it would be on him at that hour? That's a question I'm sure a lot of the press will have.
Sorry. According to him, he never let it outside. According to them, he always had it on him.
Okay.
He wouldn't leave it at home, work, anything. He always kept it with him.
Okay.
Which to them necessitated a physical confrontation to get it quickly.
Do you know what happened that night? What do we know about what happened and the nature of the shooting? Do we know anything about the act that night? The actual act?
There were 3 people involved. 2 you mentioned, another.
Oh, there was another. Okay, so we have there's a DEA guy, there's an ATF guy. Who was the third? Briefly, to the extent you can say.
At that point, probably a civilian, or same person would be an ex-agent and friend of theirs.
I see. Now, let me ask you this question, if I may. Tell us about, a lot of people here, we're local in Arlington, we're roughly where the spot where I was shot. We're about 1,000 yards from where I was shot by Kevin Doherty. Tell us, what was the relationship with Doherty with these people?
According to him, it's hard to believe anything he said. When he had a super secret background, everything then, this didn't play out well to people who actually did. It's too easy to check. But it was always a different story with him. He was an ex-agent, Department of Energy, I believe. He also claimed Marine Service. But he was their gopher, hang around. They sent him for the dirty work, the jobs he didn't do. And he would do any of them, just hoping that they would put in a good word, get him hired on one agency or another.
See, of course, that's a link, that piece of evidence there. My feeling, Luke, is that puts together, this is just my, just guessing, but that's a piece of evidence, I think, and I'm sure the press will have a lot of questions in this regard, that puts together a lot of this, because, you know, the question would be, did Doherty, just because of the dispute I had with him, get so crazy that he shot me, or, well, obviously anybody pulling a trigger is half nuts, but, or did he have some motive, and was he a plant? We don't know. Any insights you might have on that?
With your assault?
Yes. Or how the whole thing fits together, if at all.
Whether they manipulated him in some fashion, he did that every day. I mean, they would send him out for the dumbest stuff, and he would do it. Behind his back, they just laughed. He was never going to get a job from them.
Right.
But they would let on to that.
Let me ask you this. Can you give us a sense, now you came upon this information, can you give us, and I know you have to be very careful, can you give us a sense of just this, how you came across this, in broad strokes, the type of people you heard this from, just in very broad strokes, whatever you're comfortable with?
Very broad strokes. There was a group of people who worked for Rod Rosenstein in Baltimore.
When Rosenstein was U.S. Attorney in Maryland.
Correct. And he was there for quite a while, of course.
Yes.
And they were, this was his, I'm sorry, I don't work there. This was his dirty tricks squad. These were all people who owed their careers, many times their freedom, to him looking the other way or helping them out in cases when they were compromised. They're all dirty cops, one degree or another. And he exploited that a lot.
What do you think is, do you know anything about why Rosenstein, what was his concern? Do we know anything about his involvement? I mean, did he discuss the shooting of Seth with these people? Can you shed some light on what may have been his involvement, if any?
If he was not the person who authorized it, then he was certainly their protection on the other end. He was their protection for everything. This is why they felt open and free to discuss it, to brag about it. It wasn't until later when he received his appointment as deputy AG and his shine was off a bit that they felt that, you know, their protection was waning, and they started coming back around, you know, say anything, who knows this, did you repeat anything, that type of situation. They wanted to know their exposures. So if he was not the one who authorized it, then he certainly knew about it on the other side, was their protection, and it was because of his activities that it occurred.
What else, other salient points? What else should we know about this? All of this?
Well, there were details of the night that they talked about. There were people involved overall, generally. There have been rumors that it was MS-13. It wasn't. It's interesting that that rumor popped up in the very beginning, because the one DEA personnel is a so-called gang expert who specializes in MS-13. But leave that there. There was rumors that it was the Russians. It wasn't, although there's a Russian tie-in because of the information sharing between Rod Rosenstein's team, all the Bitcoin and money laundering going in and out of Russia. There's also that this was Hillary Clinton, W. Schultz, and Democrats had him killed. All the people involved, the shooters, Rod, of course, the people who planned the surveillance, they're all Republican. So it wasn't. When you understand the dynamic behind it and why, they weren't necessarily really Republicans either.
Let me ask you this.
Their own control.
Let me ask you this, if you don't mind. Tell us more about the thumb drive and what was the business. Tell us, if you can talk more about the thumb drive Seth was carrying and a little more about why these two agents and others, or three, were preoccupied with the thumb drive. The press will probably have questions.
All right. This goes back many years. This goes back at least 15 years. It began, they say information sharing, it's actually information control. The DOJ, they started just manipulating cases. When you have privileged information, you can withhold some selective prosecution, make a case go one way or the other. It benefits you, your friends. There's also next step up where you could share that information for your own personal or professional profit. Now moving to the computer side, where back just prior to Ms. Clinton ran for election the first time President Obama was elected, they got into the computer systems heavily then. Within 3 months of her servers being up, her private servers, they were already in there, copying everything, listening, and anyone who logged in or used it, they went into that system. It just spread from there. They could monitor everything. They were initially just monitoring and copying emails. They then began to alter them, delay them, alter them, change classification levels. And the experts they had were extremely gifted at doing this. It's what they did for their job, and they had all the resources of government to disposal. Well, this continued throughout the Obama White House period. And then, also everyone thought Mrs. Clinton was going to win this previous election, so Rod Rosenstein pulled out all the stops. He knew that they have a certain animosity. They don't like each other.
Rosenstein and Hillary Clinton.
Correct. They have a history of legal and personal, and behind closed doors, he's just very nasty about it.
Was he, in other words, is your feeling that Rosenstein may have been trying to curry favor with the person he believed would be the next president?
No, because Rosenstein's control was on both sides. They wanted control of everything. The law is the altar he bows down to, and he will force everyone to do so.
I see.
He wanted to ensure survival. They have been manipulating or getting dirt or planting dirt, manufacturing it against the threes, as they call them, the threes. These are Title III judges appointed under Article 3, Constitution, Supreme Court, federal judges, things like that. There aren't many. There's about 120 total, and if you can control them, or the majority of them, many of them don't know just how much they've been compromised or that they've been compromised at all. But they haven't. If they couldn't get to one of them, they get to a family member. So we'll keep it quiet, but you always won. It's the network they built. It really got bad in 2006 when the National Security Division of the DOJ came into play. And then they got access to a much wider thing that became common practice for cases in any agency, FBI, CIA, anything, to be brought to a national security lawyer and discussed about how to proceed, or proceed this way or that way, and they got so much more information, again, using it to their own survival, their own benefit. Their object was, they didn't care who was in the White House as much as they wanted control. They wanted control of the DOJ, the law. Bring a president down with a lawyer, with a judge, and control them. So that was the control they were seeking.
Why don't we do this? At this point, I'm sure everybody has questions. Let's open it up to questions from the floor for Luke.
Should I get up to the phone? Or?
Please, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It'd be helpful.
Hi, Luke. How you doing? Will Summer at the Daily Beast. I guess the most obvious question is, why should anyone believe what you're saying? Like, you're not here. We've seen no evidence that you're at all connected to law enforcement or... no, I mean, you could literally be any guy that, you know, Jack might have put someone up to this. Like, what is the proof we have that any of this is true? Thanks.
Oh, certainly not. Understandable. The evidence has been turned over. Testimony has been given to people who have vetted it. I've been polygraphed. I provided this testimony, so that has been checked there. And there's a lot more available. It's just bogged down. It goes beyond what you might get off of open source and put together an interesting story. There's the times, the dates, the places, the addresses, the individual players in different countries, the bank routing numbers, where they launder the money. It's all available. It's just...
Luke, let me ask you this. Is there anything more, for Will's purposes here, just following up on his question, is there anything more, and if there isn't, I understand, is there anything more in broad strokes, in the very broadest of strokes at least, you could tell us about the people from whom you got the core information about this? Is there anything you can tell us?
The people involved that night, 2 of the 3, the computer expert that ultimately ended up with the thumb drive, and it also came in from one other side, someone else in the periphery that night. Able to corroborate some things through a mutual friend. But the people actually involved in the act were discussing it.
Is Luke...
Other questions?
Luke, are you a federal agent?
Question, Luke, is the press is asking, are you a federal agent?
No, I was more on the intelligence side. I won't say anymore.
He said no, he worked in intelligence.
Was the thumb drive inside the... Seth's watch?
The question is, was the thumb drive inside Seth's watch, to your knowledge?
Is that what it was? Is that it was ripped all the time?
No. It had to be larger than that. I didn't see the physical thumb drive itself, but it wasn't just an SD card, I don't believe. I believe it's the whole thumb drive in the pocket.
The reason I think the reporter asked that question, his watch was torn that night. His watch was ripped, torn, and so I think that's the genesis of that.
There was a rumor that there's a secret compartment and you can't have watches with those. So I just wondered.
Why are you talking to a room full of media and not talking to investigators with the DC Police Department right now?
I can answer that if you don't mind. I can answer that for Luke.
I'd like him to answer it first. Is that okay, Frank?
Sure. Well, Luke, the question was, why are you talking? Scott from Channel 7 asked.
He doesn't know the genesis of what we've been trying to do. We've approached people in the Rayburn building. They have access to this information. They just haven't acted on it. He doesn't know any of that.
I have tried to seek out law enforcement when any agency you go to, you file a report. So if these people you worked with and trust, it eventually goes to the DOJ for investigation, for filing. And it won't go very far until it gets back to Rod. It would have to be something beyond him, something besides that channel to explain everything, to show the rest.
But
Question.
But have you talked to the DC police? I mean, they're not federal, so it wouldn't go back to the DOJ.
Question is, have you talked to the DC police?
I have not, but I'm sure it would in some fashion. I don't know.
Have you ever tried to reach out to the parents? So you're interested in talking to the DC police if they approach you, if Jack sets it up and they approach you?
Well, there's no safety. I mean, you need safety of some type. This has already gone far into dangers of not this particular conversation, but exposure has already happened. So we do have to be careful. I would not relish talking to any legitimate investigator, especially if there's protection involved. So we can.
I guess Scott's question is, if we could set up a clandestine meeting with the DC police where you would be, no one would know it was occurring, when or where, etc., would you be willing to do that? That's the question.
Yes. like I said, if it was safe.
Okay.
Why do we expect the DC police would investigate anything now? For 2 years, they seem to be suppressing the investigation. They wouldn't seem to have any interest in meeting.
Well, that's probably more a question for me than Luke. I agree with you. I think you're right. I mean, it's just, my belief, for whatever it's worth, is that this thing's gone into the cold case file. It goes back to the lawsuit we filed a year ago. I can't imagine why anybody would resist on the ballistics report. I mean, if the police have their heart in solving this case, and you have all these people working to help, why would they resist on ballistics and even the medical examiner's report? It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me.
And Jack, why have you taken such a personal interest in this case?
Oh, really just from what I said at the outset, and that is that I view us all as one big political fraternity. I mean, Seth may have been a far left-wing Democrat, I'm a far right-wing Republican, but this could have happened to any one of the young men or women who work for me. And we're one big family in D.C., and I just feel a compulsion to help. I have to do some good for the world.
I think that sort of reneged the question of if you have a witness who's willing to talk to D.C. police, why are you talking to press first?
Well, it goes back to the other gentleman's question here, in that we just, all of us involved, we have tried extensively to, even after the lawsuit, I have tried to work with them. It's just, unfortunately, the chief of police and the mayor are done talking to me. We have tried. Trust me, we have tried. It's on their end, not our end. I'm happy to sit down with them anywhere, anytime, any place, to share what we have, to work with them. I'd like to see the other video. I'd like to see ballistics. We'll work with them in any way, shape, or form. We would love to. You have to put those questions to the chief. It's his decision.
If you're saying that these two people were involved and you're saying you're already in danger, what's the reason at this point for not just giving their names?
Did you hear the question, Luke? The question is, if you say you're already in danger and you're giving these 2 or 3 people who were involved, reporter would like to know, why do you not give their names now?
The danger. I mean, they are geographically close to myself.
To you. I see.
Yes.
Okay.
And they are nasty. So there's no reason to poke them like that when protection could be easily arranged.
I mean, I think from my point of view, just as a lawyer, I mean, Lord knows I haven't practiced law in a long time, as you guys know, but if you presume that the witness is telling the truth, and we certainly think he is, if you assume that, then the reasons he would fear for his safety are quite obvious. You're dealing with bad feds. I mean, one of the things that I've come upon in this case and other things, it's becoming clear to me that a big problem in the law enforcement bureaucracy and intel bureaucracy and other parts of the U.S. government bureaucracy is that the government works out of necessity with too many people who have been on the other side of the law. And now you're seeing with Seth, we're bringing too many bad people into government because, take the DEA. They can't chase the Mexican drug lords unless they get people who know that scene and have been involved with them, etc. The agency does the same thing. This is becoming a big problem in the United States, I think.
Luke, Alex Nazarian, Yahoo News. Did you know these gentlemen, these two, alleged perpetrators beforehand? And in general, how did you come upon this information? It seems odd that they would be discussing a plot like this in a way that an outsider could hear it.
Not an outsider. I've known him for several years and worked with him just as long.
But they would discuss this openly, or sort of with knowing that you were aware of the plan but not involved in it?
Yeah, because of what everyone else was doing in this group. This was, like I said, the core group. Comfortable discussing anything. He was sort of bragging about it. So my role was on the other side of it, but it was the same group. So yes, they were comfortable with it. So we've been to each other's homes. It's that level without getting further into it.
Let me kind of anticipate the follow-up question from the reporter here, and that is, if you, I lost my train of thought. You follow.
Did they ever ask you to become involved in this?
No. No, this was done on their side. They're okay. Like like I said, I specialize in the terrorist side of things, finance side, not computer and the other things.
Oh, it came to me here. It finally comes back to me. Why would they be comfortable? Why do you surmise they would be comfortable in bragging?
One, because they're dumb enough to do it, but because it's just a small group. The things that were normally discussed, the other crimes that they were perpetrating, this was not even the largest. I don't mean that sound cold, but you're talking about people who are engaging in money laundering, espionage, sedition, treason. So this was not the top of the list.
Are you saying these people may have been involved, or indeed you know they were involved in other kinds of crimes?
Yes.
Can you...
How they came under the purview of Bob Rosenstein, because they've done this throughout their career. They've been in trouble within their own departments. They've long ago been out of the agency had got certain things happen that kept them in there. They were beholden to him.
Other questions?
We've had these periodic bursts of information about Seth Rich that often seem to coincide with other really significant events. We had Mike Flynn at a status hearing this morning. We've got Peter Strzok testifying on Thursday. Why did you choose the second anniversary of the death to release this information?
Well, we did it to honor Seth and his family because I felt the second anniversary would be an appropriate time to do that. That was the reason for my choosing. I chose this date a while back.
But you said the family is unhappy with you. Why do you continue to do things to...
Oh, because they're not my guiding light. I mean, I want to solve this, and I have to push on until I do.
Jack, this has been seized on by a lot of adherents of the QAnon conspiracy theory. Are you aware of that? Does Luke have any thoughts on that as an intelligence operative?
Luke, the question was as to the QAnon theory, which I know very little about. Do you, any thoughts on your end?
I don't follow Q. The few little things that I've seen from him that deal with Rod Rosenstein or something within my view were not necessarily correct, interpreted incorrectly from what I knew, so I didn't give it any attention.
Additionally, Jack, you're known as a pretty publicity-savvy, perhaps, guy. You're always throwing press conferences. You know, what would you say to people who say, look, this is just Jack Burkman trying to promote his own career, frankly, off a dead young man, despite the family's wishes?
Look, I understand why people would say that, but I just have to push on. Like I said, the press are our partners. We need your help. It's only through press coverage that we can go A to B to C to D. Hopefully from today's coverage, we'll get somebody else come forward and somebody else come forward and somebody else come forward. And that's the way this has worked from the beginning. With a case like this, I don't know any other way to do it. My initial thought, Will, was that a reward would be enough, and I encouraged others to do rewards, and they did. It got up over, I think it's $455,000. My initial thought 2 years ago is that would be plenty, and this thing will solve quickly, because initially I thought the DC police were right. When no one came forward, and this thing clearly moved into the cold case file, I had to look at other theories.
I have a question. Luke, this is a question for you. I'm Manuel Reg-Franzi with the Washington Post. I wanted to go back to Will's very first question, which I thought was a very good question, which I don't think was really answered. I'm a little bit puzzled about why you think anyone would believe you. And therefore, I was hopeful that you might provide us with some piece of information, some document, or something else to support the claim that you have special information about this.
I understand. Like I said over the phone, it would be difficult. Once this is investigated by someone, it's easy to find me. It's easy to find me the documents. It's easy to find me working with these people, standing next to these people. It's easy to do. Difficult over the phone. When, like I said, when there's safety and there's an official investigation, it'll be very simple.
I think the short answer, Manuel, it's probably more a question for me than him. This is the first part. This is only the first step in a process. We're planning other things. This is the kickoff of this. Like I said, it's not the end, it's the beginning of the end. We're planning other things.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, for us to put a lot of credibility into what you're saying, you know, Jack brought up the notion of him being an attorney and the way that witnesses are questioned, and one of the ways that witnesses are questioned is to establish their credibility. And I haven't heard you say something that establishes your credibility, and I think that's what Will's question was directed at, and it's certainly the question that I think would be paramount in anybody else's mind who's listening to this. So you're saying that there are documents, and I guess we would say, or I would say, I can't speak for others, show us the documents.
Certainly. I understand, and I will to the investigation. The best I can tell you from now on the phone is check what I've said. It's easy enough to check, it's easy enough to verify a lot of this and prove it. Places you had looked for and start connecting the dots, but I can't do it without the safety. There's not just myself involved.
And check what?
Check the Russian connection, check the people out, check the information about the murder, how it actually happened. I mean, they discussed details, what they did and how he crawled away. I'll tell you if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's easy to verify some of this and go from there. But I can't just spill everything down. I can't produce my DD-214.
Well, can you give us those? Can you give us details of that night, if you would? As long as I don't. Can you? What can you tell us?
Yeah. I said these are from several conversations with them, or in front of them, or around them. There were 3 involved that night. The 2 were waiting near his home. 1 was following. Now, they had been watching on and off for a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to this. They've been waiting for hours. This was getting late. DC wakes up early. They were upset that it had gone so long. They thought this would be sometime in the night. They got the call. He was headed home. And they immediately went from half asleep to up on adrenaline. The 2 of them got out. They approached him from behind, did a normal stop, get on your knees, cross your ankles, hands behind your head. They couldn't identify him. They wanted to make sure they had the right person. One covered him from behind. The other approached up on his right side. They had to get almost even with him because his arms were up behind his head. They got up almost even with him. He got his head turned. They looked at him. It's him. They shot him in the ribs. Fell off to his left. He tried to scrabble away. Maybe in deference to any family maybe listening, will tone it down, but they ridiculed him in a sexual manner about being on his knees and dying on his knees. Going forward, they shot him again. I don't know where that one was. They moved over, took a thumb drive, left. Thumb drive went to a computer expert after that.
They boasted about all these details?
It was multiple conversations. The ones they talked mostly about were how he tried to crawl away, how it was pathetic, he was on his knees, that type of thing.
You just said again, can you tell us what was on that thumb drive, please?
I don't know. I don't know what was on the thumb drive. I don't know if they were able to get into it, or I know the first person that they took it to either could not get into it or couldn't get what they wanted off of it because it went to the computer expert I know. And I don't know what was on it.
Now, Luke, let me ask you a question to follow up here. Did they, this is Jack, did they take the thumb drive from him after they shot him?
Yes. They rolled him over, took it out of his pocket. Patted down, took it, left.
I see.
Luke, I heard you, I think, say that you had taken a polygraph regarding the matter. Can you expand on the circumstances of that?
This was prior to providing information about myself and about this information we're discussing to the House Intelligence Committee. But there was more than one and passed with great scores. You know. They said you can put it in a textbook and teach off of. They were so steady.
Now, did you, just to the extent you can say, did you discuss this matter of Seth with the House Intelligence Committee?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Jack, let me check the letter, make sure it's not.
We don't want to lose, we're having technical difficulties here. Bear with us, Luke.
Jack,
Wait a minute. Oh, wait, here we go.
So many of the people involved in this story have been involved in lawsuits. Ed Batowski suing Rod Wheeler, hiring Rod Wheeler. What's your involvement, if any, with Ed Batowski?
None. I think I talked to him once long ago, but that's, I don't really know him.
Why do you think he's so interested in this matter?
You know, I don't know. I know in the lawsuit, I believe in the Wheeler lawsuit, there's some mention of me related to that, but I don't really know what it is. I honestly haven't followed that stuff. I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't know.
I can answer that question.
Tell me. Frank, go ahead, please.
I don't want to get into details, but, you know, America First Media.
I just want to say, I'm not a believer. I'm like listening to hear what the fuck I'm saying.
Brett Bauman. The suits are online. You can read them. That's the nexus of why they're suing, and we really can't discuss that at this time. You know, for obvious reasons.
Hey, Luke, can you again explain what you think they thought was on that thumb drive? You talked about Seth discovering federal workers manipulating emails.
No, not exactly. Whatever he discovered, something with the election this, election that, I don't know. But when he scooped up all those emails, basically downloaded a great big portion, it sent off all the alarms that they had in place. And to them, it looked like an investigation. They wanted to know who, why was it this close, that type of thing. So they started the surveillance. But having such a large number of emails that they had, altered in some fashion, manipulated, delayed, whatever they did to each one, or to some of them, you can alter the entire tone of the email by changing one word or classification. But he had such a large number that if something happened, if that got out, people would be pouring over it and they could discover the pattern, how it was altered, how it was done. It was too much of a risk.
And you talk about the emails that he downloaded allegedly from the DNC?
Correct.
There were reports that an FBI van was robbed the same night Seth Rich was killed and that a weapon was stolen from that van. Is that pertinent to Seth Rich's death or how he's murdered?
Not as far as I know.
Following up on that, Lisa, that may be more of a question for me. I think we were actually, it was Kevin Doherty who discovered that while he was working for us a year ago. One of the things I said to the chief of police in the May area is one of the reasons we desperately need the ballistics report is we need to know if those weapons that were stolen from the FBI, I think 61 minutes before Seth was shot, were the ones used. And that's a big reason why we need ballistics. And no one will help us.
So are you guys saying that Kevin Doherty was trying to get onto this Rod Rosenstein team and then separately was hired by you, Jack?
Well, I don't, yes, I mean, I think that's a good synopsis of what was said. I'm kind of the unwitting fool. I didn't know Kevin Doherty had a decent resume. I should have vetted him more. It turns out almost none of it was correct. I still think he did good work for us. Many of you read the 81-page report he did on this. I think it was fine detective work, frankly, and he did a lot of good investigative work. I think what Luke, just a synopsis of what Luke is saying, is Doherty was associated with, trying to be friends with, hanging out with the two people who did this shooting. And so that just leads me to wonder why he joined our team, et cetera, et cetera. Did he plant himself? Did someone plant him there? We don't know. We're looking into all that.
Jack, you had said that Glenn Seelig had vetted him first. Is that not correct?
Yes, but I don't know. That's true. He initially came to Glenn, who's sadly no longer with us. But there was some vetting done. Obviously, it wasn't enough. And I don't think, my personal feeling is none of his resume is true, but I don't know that.
Do you think this has to do with how Glenn got killed?
We don't know. I just don't know. I wish I knew, Alicia. Unfortunately, I just don't know. I don't know.
Can I add something?
Please.
I wanted to add something regarding Doherty. Doherty, around July 7th, contacted members of America First Media Group and was in dialogue after he was let go by Jack to try and get into our group after that. And that's what kind of piqued our information when he was arrested, by the Arlington police, for shooting Jack. It set off all bells to us. And one other thing, there's a phone call from Cy Hirsch on America First Media's site, which he has some kind of a source. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning author. He says that Seth was killed for what he found out, not for what he took.
I've got to interrupt you. I met with Cy Hirsch personally. He told me that recording was made without his knowledge. He had had a few drinks and it was not representative of what he actually said that night. Ed Butowski made that recording. And there are other recordings of Ron Wheeler that Ed Butowski has made that I detected audio editing in.
Right. Well, I'm just saying what's out there. Whether you dispute it or not, that's for you guys to do.
Right.
I'm still confused about the polygraph, Luke. How do you take the polygraph? When? Why? And if you have the results of that, I guess that would be another document we would want to see.
Can you speak to that, Luke? Was it House Intel? Is there anything you can tell Manuel of the Post about that?
It was, thank you. It was prior to giving the information to House Intel.
Especially
it was in relation to a previous case I'd started, worked on, and went from there into referring and dealt with some of the issues that touched on what these people were doing. So because it was unusual, I was polygraphed on everything.
Can you tell us, are you comfortable telling Manuel who polygraphed you?
Secret Service.
U.S. Secret Service.
Is there a way to verify that?
And the follow-up question is there a way to verify that?
I'm sure House Intel has it. I don't want to keep relying on that like I'm dodging a question, but it is available. They have it.
Now, let me ask you this, and again, don't answer anything you're not comfortable answering. We first and foremost, your safety, your family's safety, but tell me, Secret Service, can you tell me how they were involved with House Intel, and is there anything you can say in broad strokes about that?
They helped with some of the computer things. That's
Okay.
all I'm going to say.
Okay.
They helped prove some of the computer items I was talking about.
Hey, chat, I'm curious.
I see.
They have a very good system.
I think it's BS. Put down BS. If not, put no
Quick
BS.
question. You said the night of the murder, the assailants became frustrated with how long it took to actually get a hold of Seth. Seth was a known drinker and bar hopper.
Towards BS.
Why would they have been frustrated knowing that he was going to go from bar to bar?
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know if he drank or not.
He was on the street by 1:45 that night. That's not late for a drinker.
Okay. They were frustrated more of having to wait at his home for hours.
You said they followed him for 2 weeks.
Off and on, yes.
He was a nightly drinker.
Okay.
They would have known his program. No?
Did they? I don't know. Did they? Were they?
Well, if I followed you for 2 weeks, I'd know your program.
All right. I can't answer that.
Okay.
They know. Were they waiting for him to be drunk?
Jack, I have a question. I didn't realize it's been going on for a while. Luke, what are these noises in the background? There's like a lot of like scuffling. I'm wondering, are you in like a strange location? Are you like hiding, or what's up?
Yeah, you can say hiding, just for safety. The noises you hear are, I actually work the type of security right now. So you'll hear an automatic door.
Thank you.
Look, previously you said you were at work, so you are at work, or where are you at?
Yes.
When's the last time you've been in contact with the team of alleged murderers?
Alleged murderers? About a year. The other people involved, 3 or 4 months. One of them 2 weeks ago.
I'm puzzled about something else, Luke. You said that you don't want to poke these people by identifying them by name, but you're being recorded by many people. Your voice is now going to be readily available on the internet. You've had contact with them within the last 2 weeks. How is that any different than identifying them by name? And wouldn't you be putting yourself at just as much danger by doing this news conference?
Actually more danger, because if you identified them by name and came forward, everybody would know who he is.
It's possible. I knew that this conference wasn't without danger. It's been dangerous all along, but without getting it out there, without getting House Intelligence moving or someone, official investigation, there's never going to be a resolution. They'll just stay in this incredibly tense, dangerous situation. So,
Luke, did you think about using a voice scrambler for this interview? Are you on a voice scrambler?
Doesn't matter.
Sure it does.
Well, I think if I can add my perspective to this, what I would say is I think Luke has a passionate desire to do the right thing.
Well,
I think that's what's driving this.
Following up on what Jason said, wouldn't you be safer making your identity known and doing a public press interview and naming these people? Because then if something happens to you, everybody knows who you are and you've come out in a public way. I mean, isn't it more dangerous to not do that? And if something happens to you now, we can't verify you. We don't know who you are.
People do know who I am, and the House Intelligence knows who I am. Coming out publicly, he said if something happens, then what? You can identify the body? It's done what we can.
Well,
trying to get awareness, or trying to get people to step up, ask for an investigation, ask for something official, get House Intelligence moving. But none of this is without danger.
Right, but Jack has, what do you say, $400,000? You could hire some security, right?
No, well, it's not. 400 is not mine. 105 of it's mine. 455 is the total amount going through.
105 is enough to hire.
He fucking said what he does for
look,
a living.
we've talked to
And
Luke
that he's
about
at work,
those
but
things.
if you're
I think here's the
security
bottom
door in the
line.
background,
I'd certainly be willing to make an effort to protect him and his family.
should he have a
The
voice
bottom
scrambler?
line is I think he has legitimate security
I don't think it
concerns
matters.
through all this, as anybody would.
That's when you heard
As
the
anybody
guy
would.
laughing in the background.
What's the status with the House Intelligence Committee in Congress, and why aren't they acting? What's the status of that?
Good question.
Get the Darth Vader voice changer.
I would like to know. I'd very much like to know.
Luke, did you know anything about he's no longer in Congress from Texas, Blake Farenthold? Wasn't he going to start a group?
I got part of it.
Question is, Blake Farenthold, who recently left Congress, he's a member of member of the House from Texas, had summoned. The question is, do you know anything about his involvement in the Seth case?
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
I'm not with the press officially. I used to be a stringer for the Prince George's.
That's okay.
But I am a member of a Facebook group that cares a lot about justice for Seth Rich. And I know a lot about Mr. Burkman. My name is Shoshana. What about post-murder of Seth Rich research, like hospital records at Washington Hospital Center, police records, the fact that the head of police, the woman, she resigned right after the murder of Seth Rich. That seems suspicious to me. And I used to know one of those heads of surgery at Washington Hospital Center because when he was an emergency surgeon in Suburban, he gave me an appendix, took out my appendix. And I know who he is, and I've been trying to get in touch with him, and he will not return my phone calls. He's now at Montgomery General in Albany. Would that be fruitful to try to talk to him to see if he knew if there was any political garbage going on with why they won't release the records at Washington Hospital Center? Because of, well, I've been studying this a long time. Perhaps politically, people like Podesta's wives are on boards of hospitals in Washington, and the society business part of Washington. I'm not part of that. They have to keep quiet because of that. Or benefits to the DC police they have to be muffled in giving out records because benefits to certain police officers who are about to retire could be jeopardized. I'm very diamond in the rough about what I'm saying.
I think just a series of questions from Shoshana, a bunch of questions wrapped up into one. Good questions about asking whether you know anything about his medical treatment the night he was shot. Do we know anything about the doctors? Do we know anything at all about what happened after he was shot? Is that something you...
Webcams, too. Why aren't they being released?
Do you know anything about... Do you know anything about after he was shot?
Only that they've taken the thumb drive to their expert left the area. Anything that happened to the hospital or anything, I don't.
Where did they take the thumb drive?
Where did they take the thumb drive, the question is?
To their computer expert.
To their computer expert.
How about the FBI?
Question is, did they share it with the FBI? Did they give it to what law enforcement did they share it with?
The thumb drive?
Yes.
With themselves. I mean,
Yeah, because in other words, because they. Yeah, I think the answer is they were. Luke's perspective is they were afraid of the contents of this, and that's why this occurred.
What kind of documents do you have that's going to substantiate your claims? What kind of documents?
There were photographs, me and people, there were cases, me and them working together, documents on his way, phone calls. I document a list, an idea of overall of everything has been turned over to House Intelligence as well.
Do you have recorded conversations that you might have had with the alleged murderers?
A question from Alicia is: Do you have recorded conversations with any of these people?
I've already decided whether to answer it.
I don't think can you say that, Luke? I don't think we heard you. Sorry.
Question, I'm deciding whether I should.
Oh, I see. Sure.
I don't want to answer that one right now.
No comment on that.
Jack, what do you say to people who call you a conspiracy theorist?
You know, the word conspiracy is much overused. I'm just looking at facts, looking at data, trying to solve this murder any way we can. I'm just a lawyer looking for evidence.
I get that, but there are people who are not, they're not just persuaded by the facts. They're not persuaded by the way that you're stringing facts together and for your motives. I mean, how do you dig a little deeper? Tell me why this is important to do outside MPD.
Well, I think it's pretty simple. My belief is they're just not doing anything, and it's an important issue, and somebody has to do it, so we're doing it. I don't know that it's any more complex than that. I mean, I think, like I said, from my point of view, this could have happened to any one of the young people who work for me, Democrats and Republicans, and I have both. And so for that reason, I want to do some good.
And you're still working with the Profiling Project?
Yes, it's now called the Profiling Investigative Center, but yes, that's my group. Correct. I wish I had subpoena power, but I'm not a judge. I wish I had. If I had subpoena power, I would use it.
Rolls downhill, Bill.
Lord, no, Lord. I wish I could. We sued the city. We sued the mayor and the chief of police, trying desperately to get the coroner's report, to get the ballistics report, and to get the second Flagler video, but judge threw it out.
If you go to the Department of Vital Statistics for DC, what would you get on Seth Rich?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, he was buried in Nebraska.
Yes. I'll give you an illustration of how difficult this has become. The police would not even share with me or with anyone the hospital to which Seth was taken on that fateful night.
It was Howard and then Washington Hospital.
Yes,
right?
but we had to. It was the George Washington Hospital. The reason
it
was GW. The reason I found that out is we found a contractor. A health contractor, one of my clients led me to a health contractor who was working there, and we got that information from them. No one would share that with us. It took us 6 months to find that. It was GW Hospital.
That's probably a more political place than Howard.
I want to speak to an issue of credibility. I don't mean to hijack this, but Jack is my mother's husband and has been since 2009. My mother is Susan Brewer Burkman, and for the last 3 months, off and on, I've lived literally in the basement of his house at 1599 Colonial Terrace.
David, excuse me. David, excuse me, please.
Sure.
I think thank you for that. But well, Luke, I think we have exceeded your time. Frank is telling me you. Can we get one more? We're going to get.
I just care about the safety of my mother, and so if I thought that this was a lie, perpetrated on y'all.
Maybe not give out the address.
I would go to great.
Oh, it's publicly known. Doesn't matter.
Because I care about her safety as much as I love Jack, even more than his.
You're kind. One more. I think final question.
Luke, why did the men have to kill
that was the weirdest
Seth?
shit ever.
Why was the murder necessary?
Question is why was the murder necessary? In other words, I guess the question, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the reporter's asking, couldn't they have just thrown him on the ground, beaten him up, and taken the thumb drive? I guess that's the question. Why the killing?
They left the jury.
No, there's nothing wrong. I can't speak for exactly what was going through his mind, but if he was left alive, he could have been loaded again. He could have, maybe he went through everything and knew what was on it. You don't know. I mean, that's what I said. Compared to the other crimes involved, it was not that big of a list. So, I mean, if he had it online somewhere, if he could have just gone to the same place then. But
that was fucking weird.
It wouldn't have solved anything.
One thing I would say to keep in mind, this is just my perspective on all this. If, as the DC police allege, this was in the street and street thugs did it, expensive gold chain, nice watch, cash, credit cards, none of that taken. None of that taken. It seems obvious to me that they wanted something else. What could this have been? Okay, let's assume the DC police are correct and it's in the street. Why would he be shot twice in the back? Seth Rich was many things. He wasn't a frightful, fearsome dude. If they came upon him and there was a scuffle, I don't think anybody was worried that these thugs weren't worried that Seth was going to chase him down the street. That theory doesn't hold a lot of water.
My daughter's high school, mine too, BCC, if you steal an iPhone, it's called the crime of opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity there to make them, to go to the pawn shop.
Showed up.
Well, guys, I have to honor my commitment to Luke. Luke, thank you. I know you have to go. We thank you for all your time today. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate your opportunity and all the work that Mr. Couch and his team have done on this.
We're very thankful.
They got a little close to these people. These people started talking about them, and that's why I contacted them to head that off.
Well, we thank you, Luke, and keep doing the right thing, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Thank you. Anything else, guys?
How's your group at GW doing?
Yeah. Oh, they are no longer with us. No longer with us.
Okay, Jason, I think that wraps
Thank you,
it up.
everyone.
Yeah. Did you want to talk about that at all, Doctor?
Doctor, will it be okay? No, son, it was thugs.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. Let me just shout out my address and or this guy. He's a good guy. He lives at. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
That could be the pissed off stepson move. Like, how to get rid of this guy? This guy's fucking my mom.
I don't know.
I gotta get rid of him.
Like, they stopped him, but they did it in such a way I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? Like,
you're good, son. You're good.
oh my god.
Just initial reaction. Is this for real or is it bullshit?
It's a little weird, obviously, when there's a press conference and you believe like someone's going to give names, and it's like, okay, you're not going to give names, but you're telling us basically what you do for a living.
Oh, do you think his story's legit?
I would like to believe so. I mean, when someone gives details like that, you'd hope. In regards of like,
to me,
like how someone was killed, what happened like during it, and the scuffle. It's tough because it's like I'm giving you something, but I'm not giving you that much to go with.
It has all the signs of BS, but at the same time, I don't know. But it has the signs of it.
Sure.
It's like you have an anonymous witness who keeps the names of the guys who did it anonymous. For what reason, I don't know. Because if you let's say you say their names, it's like, all right, now if you end up dead, like, oh, these are the first names we look at.
Yeah.
Unless you really don't trust any, like the police system or anything like that.
Hey, maybe not.
Which is why
I would not.
Which is why I have to say I don't know. But at the same time, I'm like,
sure, I wouldn't doubt it, because I'm pretty sure earlier he said something like, if I go to the police, then whatever I say goes to these people, and it goes up and up until it stops at a certain point. And either they'll just, you know, cut it off, or he might get fucked, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's tough. Like maybe this was some sort of way as far as to have a press conference in regards of like, we'll just let them know that we have something here.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know. No idea. No idea.
They, like he says, the witness says that he's close to the 2 guys that did the murder, or 2 of the guys, 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
He's like, well, why can't you say their names? He says, I'm in close proximity to them. Like, geographically, I live near them. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't you hide your voice? You've hung out with these guys or something. You've been around them to obviously hear the story of them killing Seth Rich.
It's easy. Darth Vader, voice changer.
Well, why aren't you...
Put on the...
It didn't seem like an inconvenience. It seemed more like, why wouldn't you just do that? If you're going to hide everything, hide everything.
He's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Been here. In the background. It's like, it's like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't you do that?
If he's...
It's really weird. I don't get it.
Yeah. If he's hung out with these guys, and he's like, yeah, they just like to brag about... They were bragging about the murder.
Yeah, shooting a dude on his knees, make him crawl over, turn over and shoot him again.
If you're hearing someone, if you're with someone and they're doing that, obviously you have some sort of close connection to them to some degree, which means they know your fucking voice. Also, that's one. Also, you brought up you work in securities at the moment, and that you're currently at your job right now while you're doing this interview.
That's fucking crazy. What the fuck?
Unless he's not hiding from those guys, that just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's... Hey, may know something. He just might be a dumbass.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Or maybe he truly believes he's actually like, I'm safe here.
All right.
I don't know, man.
Here's some things that differ from the actual, like the conspiracy theory on, you know, the whatever media, social media. A lot of people think that he was giving information to WikiLeaks, and that's why he was killed or whatever. These guys are saying it wasn't really about WikiLeaks. Like, he wasn't going directly to WikiLeaks. He was keeping them on a thumb drive in his pocket somewhere. Some evidence of them altering emails. I might even agree with that. I might agree, Mr. Spinks.
Well, it just raises a whole bunch of new questions. You know, it's like, did we get anywhere?
It all depends what they have. If they have documents, you might change your idea around completely.
Did they say enough to go, we can now arrest these guys? No.
Oh, they definitely didn't do that.
So it's like, it just raises...
And the only reason they didn't is they're claiming protection. Like, it's not safe to do that.
Not yet. It's like, dude, I don't get it. It's whatever. You just told us where you work, where you're at right now, at the moment.
If you
what's
say your
going on
name,
in the background.
if you say your name and who you are, right?
Yeah.
Then if you just end up dead days later, we're like, all right, something's up there, right?
Yeah, but then we don't know.
Huh?
We don't know. We won't know who.
No, if he came out publicly and said, I'm the witness.
Yeah, yeah.
And these are the guys, and you end up dead 3 days later.
Yeah. It's a red flag.
Even if the entire police corps is all fucking corrupt, you still have the entire public like, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Unless the machine gets behind them.
I think Hillary's paying them for disinfo.
It's very possible.
Well, I think it might be the other way around. I think it could be more of a right-wing thing.
I'm a Republican. I'm like, fuck.
Well,
why? Why are we still doing these teams?
It all depends on what happens.
Yeah.
In other areas, if it could be another distraction.
Maybe. I would like to believe that they do have. they do have valuable information, you know, and they're gonna do something with it. Why they did this, I don't know. I mean, it's a little weird when you just, you know, you say shit, but you don't say shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, guys, I work in forensics or whatever. And it's like, oh, I can't tell you my name. It's like, are you changing your voice? Are you using a voice changer? He's like, no.
What do you mean, Battlestar? I'm like lost.
A little worse.
Stop it. I get it. Yeah, you get it.
It's been 3 days, right?
What?
Yeah.
Look up this fucking name. Yeah, they're saying Rod Rosenstein is like the master manipulator in all this. That he's half protecting himself and half, protecting himself with whatever information, and also he's like a prime manipulator. This whole thing was COINTEL, bro. I can't say I know, man. I don't know. But
I'm back, Fuhrer.
What my ears heard was this has all the signs of BS, but I can't say I know.
Well, it's
and
like, why would you even do a press conference? And then
I'm not gonna be offended to be strung along and pay attention to the story. I'm not, because if at the end we find out like, oh, they were just full of shit the whole time, I'll be like, okay,
yeah.
But if they find something, I'll be like, well, I want to fucking hear that.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Wow.
So bringing Rosenstein into it was a nice touch. Yeah, they sort of made him like the man behind the curtain or something. He's pulling all the strings everywhere. The DEA and the ATF agent, they do the dirty work for Rod Rosenstein. Or Rosenstein.
I'm disappointed, man. I thought I'd get something. Or we'd get something. All I know is now is like, maybe it was already out there that how the guy died, which is creepy as fuck.
And not using a voice changer. I guess they thought that wouldn't be asked. You can hear the journalist in the background fucking laughing.
Yeah.
He's like what? You're saying that you need all this protection and you won't do anything unless it's safe. But you're literally telling the audit.
Yeah,
you're telling them you're at your job.
Yeah, you're telling you at your job. You're not using a voice changer. See, you can hear this in the background. You can hear the fan, or whatever the fuck.
You can hear the security door.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, what? Now we know, we have an idea what you do. Not only that, it's like you say that, but I feel to protect. Yeah, family to protect and people that the witnesses.
It's
like, what, dude? What?
What happens if like a coworker walks by? Are they like in life-threatening situation too now?
That's like, yeah, dude. I'm trying to get 8-pack abs. Here, I'm gonna eat cake every day. Like, what?
I thought this guy would be like in some isolated area with security around him.
Oh, he's lying about location, maybe, but it just doesn't make sense to like. Why even bring it up?
Yeah, why bring that up?
No.
Like he went out of his way to say security. Like they talk about muffling. He's like, I'm sorry. It's just I'm at my job. Security door and making noise.
That's kind of all I got. Yeah.
Peace out, killer. Killer.
Maybe that's him. Maybe it's really him.
I hope.
Giles.
My conspiracy mind, like, hopes that it's just some guy writing on paper and feeding someone else notes, and he's reading it off.
I have an idea. Let's go to Jones' channel.
Or he has a very, very good voice changer to where it sounds like another person completely.
I would have been like, yo, Jordan. Yeah, James. By the way, James, I know you're not 5. I know. It's your fault. Yeah, James, I know. Anyway, listen, I have information. We're gonna record your voice and we're gonna send out like you're me. There you go. You know,
like Scream.
Yeah.
Like the third Scream movie.
Yes.
Where it changes to actual people's voices.
Yes.
Even though it's like stop it.
Or just
stop it.
Talk like Sean Connery. Just pretend you're someone else and say you know the killer and you have witnesses. 50 no's in the yes means yes. So I have an idea. Let's we should see what Alex Jones is saying about this whole thing.
Later.
The globalists.
They asked him like, "Why aren't you talking to cops?" And he's like,
"Fuck the police.
If I say information in this area, it'll somehow get to Rod Rosenstein, and then he'll be in trouble or something." And then to me, that's like,
See, I don't want to say it's all bullshit because it's like I don't have enough to go. Like for me, it was like this. It's like now I'm thinking like there must have been some sort of reason they had this press conference. Like you know, it's like okay, like we're not like
Seth
two.
Rich anniversary.
We're not two, right? Well, yeah, I get it.
It's Seth anniversary.
But in regards of we know we can't say this. We know we can't say this. We know we can't say this. But we're gonna have a press conference anyway, just to say we have new shit. You know, I don't know. But then it's so much backwards crap going on.
But he says shit.
That's know.
The thing. They asked him,
like, listen, I have one leg. Just letting you guys know. It's like what?
They asked him, why aren't you naming the two or three guys that pulled off the murder?
Yeah.
He says it's dangerous because they live in proximity to me.
Like, why would
pretty
you say
close.
that?
It's like, wait a minute.
And then you say, I'm at work right now.
That's either like you actually do live near them and you're giving yourself away.
Yeah.
Or you don't live near them and you're putting someone else in a shitload of danger.
Yeah.
It's like I'll make them think I live near them, and then they fucking shoot Bob next door.
It's creepy. Bob is
like, Bob, wasn't it?
Like Bob likes to collect buttons and stamps and walks outside with his slacks around his belly button, like do. Looks like Flanders. Huh? What a wonderful day to read the paper. It's like, why would you do that? Why? You know, it's corrupt as fuck.
They ask him, why would anyone believe you? And he kept on saying, wait for the investigation. Yeah. The Burkman was like, oh, this is only the beginning. This is the beginning of the end, he says. His little tagline.
Said that more than once, yeah.
That's like their tagline. Yeah. There was a Q question. Q and
he's like, it's the beginning of the end in Washington, D.C. Music hits, walks
out. They asked him about QAnon. He says, I don't follow Q. He said he's heard some things, but it didn't sound correct to him, so he just stopped paying attention to it. Which I think a lot of people are into. They want to hear. Yeah.
I didn't like that. Load of bull crap.
This shit ended.
Man, we should have a PayPal.
Quick disclaimer. Say thank you to Jason Goodman for doing that. We don't have his permission. He just he was live streaming. He won't care. We only have like 20 subscribers. He won't give a shit.
28.
And we're not asking for money, so.
But I'm not saying no.
Yeah, very weird shit. Especially the stepson standing up and doing
He's
that.
like, hi, listen, we live over here, and I lived in his basement. It's like, I don't want to know. Stop. Oh my God, what are you doing?
He wasn't like, you know, anyone got a problem with my stepdad? Come find me at 11108. Blah 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 blah. No, he didn't say it like that, which is the weird shit.
Yeah.
He just said it randomly out of nowhere.
Well,
so this guy's been really nice to me. Him and my mom are together. They let me on and off. I've been staying with him. I've been staying with him at 111.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
what? What are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
It's like,
what was that?
I mean,
that was by far the weirdest thing.
It's like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? Now I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be listening to this. Like
there's one part.
One.
There's one part where.
Well, then he said this. And the guy's like, it's like someone's like, what? He's like, don't worry, it's public knowledge. People know it. It's like, yeah, why the fuck would you say it like that?
At first, he stopped him.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, thanks, I appreciate it. And then the dude on the phone, Luke, or whatever, he was like, I wouldn't be giving out the address. He's like, don't worry, it's public knowledge.
Still, it's like, listen, you're very nice, Jordan. I mean, Billy, and we've been hanging out lately at this location, 111225 Avenue. It's like, wait, what? It's like his whole demeanor changed. His whole demeanor changed, and he said the address. It's like, what's wrong with you? You getting paid? What? What is it? Someone promised you shoes?
He pissed his mom. Is with another dude, man. Maybe.
Maybe he was trying to,
There's one interesting. I don't know if it was a contradiction or they just misspoken.
He's trying to be a stepdad. Bam. Bob's gonna get. Fuck.
You've been watching Corbett, haven't you?
Suicided. Damn. By the way, I'm very happy as well, and I would never commit suicide. Just saying.
There's one. It seemed like a contradiction. I don't know if they misspoken, if he misspoke, or this was just them fucking up the story that they may have prearranged. When he goes over the details of what happened that night, he says they shot him once in the ribs. They shot him from behind, like stuck him up, like freeze or whatever. Shot him in one rib.
It's only get down, put your hands behind your head.
Shot him in one rib.
Yeah.
Turned him over, took the thumb drive, and then shot him again. Then bounced. And then there was a follow-up question, like later on, and they asked, when did he take the thumb drive? Did he shoot him and then take the thumb drive?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. Those are two different stories going on. Maybe I misheard them, or they misspoke.
Maybe.
But that's interesting contradiction right there. Also, the one story that gives some credibility to this is the Kevin Doherty guy.
He kept talking about him being shot.
Kevin Doherty, I believe, was hired by Burkman to do investigating. You know, he came to him with all these credentials saying, I was in this military thing, I was intelligence, or whatever the fuck he said. He brought it to Burkman, he got the job with Burkman, and then something happened to where Doherty, I believe, assaulted and shot Burkman.
Wow.
Yeah. I should probably pull that fucking thing up. Where is this shit?
Assaulted and shot him. Fuck.
Actually, let me see this.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's crazy. It's crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, but Burkman they basically insinuated that he was a plant. That he was meant to get close to Burkman and then kill him or something. Or intimidate him.
Creepy, man.
See if we can get this guy's mugshot on screen. That guy right there.
Ooh.
Fuck.
I'm jealous. His beard connects and mine doesn't. Okay, I've seen that picture before.
Yeah, he was shot and run over by
what
a car.
the fuck?
By former U.S. Marine Kevin Doherty on March 13th, who he hired to help him get to the bottom of the case.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. Doherty, who claims he worked as a special agent and criminal investigator in the intelligence community, was subsequently arrested by Arlington County Police on charges of malicious wounding and use of a firearm in commission of a felony.
Oh, dude, what the fuck?
You get shot and like run over. I'm going with attempted murder.
Oh yeah.
Just in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, see, he pulled the wheel 3 degrees to the left and then.
You see that Suge Knight video? Okay, that was enough.
He was aiming for his leg.
You know what I mean? Like if someone tries to run you over with a car, not only shoot you. It's like, well, I mean, he slipped. It was an accident. It's like, dude, come on now, please.
So yeah, that was the interesting part because that actually happened.
Yeah.
Now, I want to lean towards believing Burkman on that end of things. I always want to believe in him straight up, and
Me too.
He's just going with what this guy is saying. Because
I like to believe that it's just
the whole thing could be like legit, like they're honestly trying to do this.
But
one guy, one witness could be like, "All right, I'll get in there and then I'll say this shit and they'll fuck up the rest of it."
It's very.
I'll take down their credibility
it's very
by
possible.
saying this.
Very possible.
Who the fuck knows?
So it's called being the one. You know?
But that story is legit. Kevin Doherty fucking shooting him and running him over. Basically, and the witness is saying that Doherty was close to the DEA and ATF agent that murdered Seth Rich.
Creepy, man.
Yeah, dark shit.
He's probably somewhere in Hawaii right now. It's like, all right, you did your job, but you failed. You're not gonna go to Brazil. You're going to Hawaii. Ha 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 ha. It's like fuck. I don't know, man.
Like you said, the polygraph thing doesn't mean shit.
I've heard that shit's been disproven polygraphs. It's like just as like holds up just as well as the whole hair test. It's like it's been like this. It's been
debunked.
It's just like to scare you type of thing or fool you, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the hair test says like if anybody ever used that in you against you, it's like you just say this and this and this and you're fine. Just like the whole fucking polygraph thing.
Yeah.
It's like fuck out of here.
Yeah. I mean,
that guy's my hero. Rosenstein. How do you say it? Rosenstein. He looks like he's like, yep, I'm doing the right thing.
Don't look this way.
You know, you remind me of like when he was in court. It's like, dude, you remind me of those guys of like the tobacco industry when they're getting like their shit cooked. They're like, oh, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We're fucked. It's like, yeah, you are. That's kind of it. I mean, right?
There's some smaller things. They called the witness credible, but they used the word, I think he's credible.
Well, they don't know.
He's being vetted, which means they haven't really, I don't know why they would throw him up here unless they fully vetted him and got all the details, got him to a safe place instead of just him on speakerphone.
At work.
At work.
Describing where he is, what he does.
Yeah.
Not using like a voice scrambler.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Well, I couldn't afford one.
So I thought they'd isolate him.
Darth Vader voice changer is like $10. I'm sure of it. You put the helmet on.
I think he wants something more sophisticated.
Maybe. Whatever, dude. You crack open the helmet. You get the little mic wires and everything. Just hold. So you know what? No.
Yeah.
It's like.
Also, if Rosenstein is some bigwig dude, why can't he just? We need to trace his phone number here.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
If there's a shitload of corrupt people there, and he's one of them, and he's like a ringleader type of dude, can't he figure out some way to get
it's like you
locations?
You got a cell phone. You have to get to a walkie-talkie into another cell phone calling someone else. You know what I mean? It's like okay,
they can still probably figure that shit.
I guess.
Use Dixie cups, attach the string.
Dixie cups.
I'm the Morse code in.
No, it's you have a cell phone. You put it like something on top of a building. Get a. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Fuck it all. You know, again, I would just like to believe that they have some sort of plan. You know,
I might agree with Spinks because the keeping him anonymous part seems so sloppy.
Well, it's the way they went about it.
If
it just didn't make
if they
sense.
were truly keeping him anonymous until it was like, okay, now he's gonna let out the information. I think it's sort of what Spinks is saying, where it's like nothing to where we have a statement from a witness. He's not gonna actually say anything. You're not gonna hear him. You're not gonna see him. We just have this statement. That's where it's like basically nothing. You're like, all right, we gotta wait for the bigger details. And then when he actually says something like out loud to people, that's when we find out who he is and what he knows and all that shit. It's got to be all or nothing, or you're.
I mean,
it doesn't make sense to him.
He might as well be Bryce Harper, and the stress from this whole thing was causing him to hit under 250. You know?
Under 220.
Under 250, I said.
Under 220. Right now, he's
Same
under
shit.
Yeah, but one's a little more drastic.
Whatever.
He could be hitting 248 in your rules, and I'm like, no, he's like 219.
Under 250.
Why don't you just say under 400? He's just hitting under 400.
Do you want food later?
I'm correcting.
That's what I thought.
I'm correcting you.
That's what I thought.
Whatever you're
Sit
saying.
down. Sit down. All right.
Also, they're saying they have multiple witnesses, or multiple people making testimony. And I'll get to that. Which is basically saying, come back for more information.
It's like, find out next week.
I don't know if that's a ploy or if that's like a legitimate thing.
It's like, find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. It's like that. It's like The Sopranos, what they do.
Yeah.
Like when you're a kid, you're like, and then it's, what will happen? And like, fuck. That voice comes on. It's like, find out next week. It's like you have to wait for all that time for like 15 minutes of whatever the fuck you want.
I'll be paying attention, but whether or not I go live about it, or if it's just if it seems like so shaky to where it's like, I'll watch this at 11 p.m. before I go to sleep or something, rather than do like a full broadcast of it.
Well, hey, this was big.
But I'll still pay attention because it's fucking interesting.
This is big. It was like the first thing in a while. It was like
Yeah, they had legitimate news sources there.
It's like press conference. Are you ready?
Those guys.
1 o'clock. It's like
those guys were haggling too, or
Yeah.
not haggling. What you call it?
Fishing.
They're sort of trying to set him up. Not really set him up, but like expose him. Like the guy laughing.
It's like, and Washington Post guy's like, listen, why should we trust you? Why should we trust you?
They did bring up the Seymour Hersh thing.
Yeah.
The Seymour Hersh where he's saying that he wasn't killed for the information he gave away. He was killed for the information he had.
Mm-hmm.
And one reporter just wrote that off like nothing. They're like, Seymour Hersh, he's talked about it. He was drinking a little bit. He didn't know he's being filmed. It's like, so
what?
Then he's like snuck it in like it could have been edited audio. It's like, stop it.
It's like, put out your hand.
Just say, that's interesting. I'll go look more into it. Why can't you say that?
Yeah, they gotta grab their belt buckle and dance a little bit in front of everybody. Well, we just twist the truth here. It's like.
Also, let me just state again before we get out of here. They're saying that the emails had nothing to do, or him being killed had nothing to do with WikiLeaks, really. It wasn't really about WikiLeaks having information or having those emails. It's because of emails being altered. Of course not. Wait, this is our job.
What am I supposed to say?
We just scour the internet for whatchamacallit, for conspiracies.
If I told them my job, then I would be out of work.
I beat up criminals at night in a bat costume.
What I do is I'll tell them.
And I'm a billionaire.
I'll tell them.
Okay.
Well, you see, I always stay inside during the day, and usually I have a convertible. I have a long black trench coat, which I ride around with my friends. One who is very green, and we round up people that are considered to be very scary, and we have we now own a law firm.
A what?
A law firm.
They said law firm.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
No. We have private investigations. Yeah.
The press should have demanded names. There's only so much you can do.
We demand your favorite